Hey, what's going on, y'all? This is J. Maria, J. Marie Booklist, and today I'm coming to ask a question. Were you given a tour of the building when you started as a health unit coordinator? So, the reason why I asked that question is because one of the things that I always do when I train a new HUC is take them on a tour of the building. I mean, it's one thing to, take them on a tour of the unit, train them on the computer system, show them where, the clean utility, dirty utility, pantry, all that stuff is. But were you taken on a tour of the building? So one of the things I always did, after maybe first, second, third day, I would let my charge nurse know, hey, I'm taking them on a tour of the building, and we would go for a walk. We'd probably be gone for about a good 30 minutes because I was showing where the lab was, where the morgue was, where biomed was, where the operators sat. If you needed to get the phones fixed, this is where you bring them. If you needed phones for the patient's room, this is where you go to get it. I mean, and then, we had the conference rooms. We had conference rooms all over the place. And, you know, we had some in the basement, some on the first floor, second floor, third floor. I mean, so when I used to work on one, I used to work in one department and I transferred to another. And that was in a newer part of the hospital. So it was built onto the hospital. And do you not know that a lot of the people had never been to the other side of the building? So they didn't know, they just knew it was another part of the hospital. They had never been there. No one had ever took them on a tour there. So not only did you have, people who've been there who watched that part of the building be built, but you also had new people who came on and they had never been on that side. So when they got floated over there or whatever, they didn't know where they were going or how to get there and how to get back. Or if they had a conference, because we had conference rooms over there, they didn't know where it was because they had never been over there. No one had ever took them on a tour of the building. And I'm like, how can you watch the building be built? You never went over there to see what's going on. Like, you had residents, and residents, and of course the doctors knew because they would go to both sides, but you had residents who knew the layout better than people who had been there for 20 years. Like, because the residents would go over there with the doctors, so they knew the layout, they knew all the hidden elevators and things like that. You have people that didn't even know how to get to a conference room or what units were over there. I'm like, no, people, look, you need to know the layout of the hospital. You cannot get so bogged down on just your unit. You have to explore, because what if because like one of the things I always, after I would take them on a tour, I would send them to go get something simple, but I knew that they would get lost. I knew they would get lost, and I would tell them, you're going to get lost, but it's okay, because you have to get out and explore. You can't just be on your unit all day for the next 20 years. Like, you have to explore. There's more to the hospital than just your unit. Because what if you float? You don't know where you're going. Or like when I first before I transferred over, because that's actually how I got over there, because I used to float over there, and I used to work extra over there, but I knew where everything was because I'm nosy like that. Okay, I know where everything is in the building. I know where everything is on the computer. Okay, because I like to click on stuff and see what's this. Okay, and that's how I know everything. But like, you have to explore. You have to get out and explore, because you can't. I know a lot of you get so your unit, and then you go to another unit and you just, ugh. That's why I knew a lot of people, because I would, work extra and go here and go there. Like when I told the story about the ER, the only time I had, when I worked down in the ER that day, I had only been down there, sitting with Baker Acts or passing through, because there was a little way that there was a elevator, and if you had a badge, you can swipe it and take you right down to the ER and everything. See, these are things that I knew. Okay, so it's not like, oh my God, this is my first time walking in the ER, I don't know what's going on. No, I knew things. I knew where they're, because they had a tube system, because part of the hospital had a tube system. So when you would draw blood, when the nurses would draw blood, they would tube it down to the lab. Well, the ER had one too, and I used to go down there and get our tubes because each department had their certain number of tubes, and I would go down there and get it. I would just go down there and get it. You know, they ain't think none of it because they had seen me before. They knew who I was. Go down and get our stuff. That's what happens when you explore. Like when you know other departments. It's not like, who is this person and what are they doing here? It's okay, she's worked here before. We know who she is. We've seen her around. We know. See, that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. You got to get out and explore. So I need all my people who train. If you're training new HUCs, take them on a tour of the hospital so that they learn their way around and so they become more knowledgeable. Like I said, that's the reason why I knew everything, because I knew where everything was. I knew how to get. There was another part of the hospital, you can get to it through the basement. And but I like going, when I did go over there, through the front, because you go through the basement, you're gonna get lost. Okay? And I'm gonna tell you that you're gonna get lost. So it's better just to go through the front door than to go through the back door. And then, you know, you might, like, same thing with surgery. If you go this elevator, you go right down to surgery. If you go this way, you go. See, I knew all that. I knew all that because I explored. You know, I wasn't afraid to get out. And I showed the new HUCs that. I said, look, if you get on this elevator, you go all the way down to the basement, you're in surgery. That's why they got the gowns. And, you know, you got to gown up and everything because you can't just walk into the surgery department like this. You got to gown up. I said, that's why that's there. Because if you go all the way down, you're going to be in surgery. If you go this way, you're going to be, you know what I'm saying? I let them know, look, it's not just A, B, C, D. There are all kinds of hidden stuff. And if you in the know, you know it. But that's just something that I want you all to train the new HUCs. Take them on a tour of the building so that they know. And you know too. All right? I'll talk to you later. Bye.